The auction grounds were swamped with prospective buyers craving swift, powerful, and pedigreed horses, filling rows of wooden benches beneath a scorching sun and fueling the air with a heady mix of ambition and dust. Fine particles of dirt whirled about prancing hoofs, mingling with pungent manure and the whispered hopes of those convinced they might uncover an undiscovered champion. A chorus of sharp auctioneer calls punctuated the heavy afternoon as eager onlookers clutched worn catalogs and strained to spot a horse that might change their fortunes. Sturdy thoroughbreds demonstrated noble strides, lofty warmbloods exuded regal poise, and nimble quarter horses dazzled with quicksilver spins meant to captivate both heart and wallet. Amid this cacophony, Daniel, a lean young man in a faded denim jacket, stood apart, his steady gaze fixed on something deeper than polished exteriors. Every bead of sweat on his brow spoke of long hours spent saving each meager coin for the chance to rescue a creature forsaken by the glittering world around him. His intent was simple yet profound, to seek out a horse that had been discarded by those blinded by pedigree and pristine form. As bids soared on champion lots, Daniel remained silent, his eyes scanning the ring for a sign of hidden suffering amid the glitz and glamour. Late in the sale, a weary bay gelding limped into the ring, its coat dull and ribs stark, each uneven step a testament to unspoken hardship. The auctioneer's voice wavered as he attempted to stir interest, but the gathered crowd, captivated by flashier prospects, largely ignored this forlorn animal. Rumors of dubious lineage and lingering injuries swirled among the onlookers, reinforcing the consensus that the gelding was unworthy of a bid. Yet, as Daniel's eyes met the horse's haunted gaze, he sensed a silent plea, a desperate wish for rescue that resonated deep within him. In that moment, the world around him seemed to fall away, leaving only the quiet despair of a creature long abandoned. With a pounding heart, he realized that here was a soul whose story was not yet finished despite its battered exterior. When the auctioneer threatened to call the lot unsold, Daniel's trembling hand gripped his paddle as he stepped forward with unwavering resolve. His bid, modest yet earnest, was raised despite murmurs of disapproval from a crowd that had already written off the horse. A brief, stunned silence fell over the arena as his small bid shattered the prevailing cynicism, declaring that not all worth is measured in gold. The sound of the gavel struck with finality, and in that crisp moment, the rejected gelding was legally Daniel's. Heart heavy with both hope and trepidation, Daniel knelt beside the trembling horse, whispering gentle promises of a new beginning. He reached out slowly, offering a careful hand that communicated safety where harsh words had once reigned. The horse's ears twitched in tentative recognition as it allowed a hesitant touch, its body quivering with a mix of fear and fragile relief. Leaving the ring behind, Daniel led the gelding toward an old, battered trailer, each step echoing the silent vow he had made. The midday sun beat down relentlessly as the pair moved through a haze of dust and whispered judgment from disapproving onlookers. Daniel's mind raced with thoughts of a long road ahead, a journey of healing that would require every ounce of his determination. The borrowed trailer, scarred by years of service, creaked under the weight of both man and animal as they embarked on this uncertain voyage. Every clank and creak of the trailer was a reminder that both their futures hung in the balance, fragile and uncharted. Within the confines of that metal box, the horse's anxious eyes met Daniel's steady ones, forging an unspoken pact of trust. Once the door was securely latched, Daniel exhaled a long-held breath, aware that his life had irrevocably changed in that fleeting moment. He climbed into his battered pickup, the engine's rumble echoing the fervor in his chest as he prepared to drive toward an uncertain, yet hopeful future. The rutted country roads stretched out before them, each jolt of the pickup a reminder of the fragile condition of the soul now in his care. With every turn of the wheel, Daniel's thoughts swirled around the possibility of redemption for both himself and the downtrodden horse. The relentless heat of the afternoon gave way to a cooler dusk, and the world outside the truck seemed to slow, as if in anticipation of what was to come. In the quiet solitude of the journey, doubts crept in, yet were quickly quelled by a rising conviction that every life deserved a second chance. The landscape, painted with hues of amber and rust, mirrored the melancholy and hope intertwined within the young man's soul. At long last, the familiar outline of his modest property appeared, a sanctuary of humble shelter and quiet determination. Parking beside a weathered barn, Daniel shut off the engine and stepped out into an evening imbued with both possibility and the burden of responsibility. He unlocked the trailer door with care, ready to introduce the horse to a world where kindness might finally reign over cruelty. The gelding hesitated before stepping onto the cool earthen yard, its nostrils flaring as it absorbed the unfamiliar sense of home. Daniel led the creature toward a simple stall lined with fresh straw and a basin of clean water, each step marking a tiny victory over past neglect. In the fading light, as the barn's door creaked shut behind him, Daniel silently vowed that neither he nor the rejected horse would ever again be defined by the cruelty of their past. In the early hours of the following day, Daniel awoke before dawn, his resolve unshaken and his heart already heavy with plans for recovery. The horse, still timid from its past, watched him with wary eyes as he prepared a modest breakfast of oats and water in the barn. Every gesture Daniel made was deliberate, as he worked slowly to establish a sense of routine and trust that had long been absent from the animal's life. He gently brushed the gelding's matted coat, speaking in soft, soothing tones that filled the quiet space with a promise of better days ahead. The barn, though plain and weather-beaten, resonated with a warmth born of Daniel's patient care and unyielding hope. Outside, the first light of day broke over the horizon, casting long shadows and igniting the dew with a silvery glow that spoke of new beginnings. Daniel meticulously cleaned the stall, removing remnants of old straw and dirt, preparing a sanctuary where every inch whispered comfort. The horse, still cautious, allowed a tentative touch as Daniel massaged its neck, feeling the tension slowly ebb away. In quiet moments, Daniel would pause and watch the animal's eyes, searching for a spark of recognition that they shared an unspoken kinship. As the day unfolded, the barn filled with small sounds, a creak of the wooden beams, the gentle rustle of fresh hay, and the soft clop of hooves on the floor. Neighbors passing by began to notice the unusual bond between man and horse, their curiosity tempered by admiration and surprise. Word of Daniel's compassionate act spread quietly, carried on whispers that defied the harsh judgments of the auction ring. With each careful stroke and measured word, Daniel endeavored to replace the horse's former fear with a fragile sense of belonging. He set aside extra portions of feed, ensuring that the animal's nutrition was restored and that its strength might slowly return. Over the course of the morning, the horse began to relax, its ears ceasing their constant twitch and its eyes softening with cautious trust. Daniel recorded little observations in a worn notebook, documenting changes in behavior, appetite, and the gradual brightening of the gelding's gaze. His every act of care was imbued with a quiet determination, a belief that redemption was possible for those cast aside by fate. By midday, the barn had transformed into a haven where healing was measured not in gold or accolades, but in gentle persistence and love. The once timid horse now accepted its surroundings with a tentative curiosity, as if testing the limits of its newfound sanctuary. Daniel adjusted its water bowl frequently, ensuring that every sip was as refreshing as the promise of a better tomorrow. In the stillness between tasks, he recalled memories of childhood animals rescued from hardship, each recollection reinforcing his commitment. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees, carrying hints of distant rains that might wash away remnants of the past's cruelty. Daniel meticulously mended a broken stall board, every nail and plank a symbol of the care he was determined to bestow. The horse, once resigned to a life of neglect, began to show subtle signs of recovery, a more upright head, a steadier gait, a hint of warmth in its eyes. Neighbors started to pause by the fence, exchanging hushed compliments on Daniel's tender methods and the remarkable change in the animal's demeanor. Each day, as the routine of care unfolded, the bond between Daniel and the horse deepened, knitting together their lives with quiet, steadfast threads. The simple acts of grooming and feeding became sacred rituals that erased the scars of past rejection and sowed seeds of trust. At dusk, when the world outside quieted, Daniel would sit beside the stall, recounting the day's small triumphs and silently promising a brighter future. Even the horse, in its moments of gentle repose, seemed to exhale a deep, unspoken relief, as though it sensed the possibility of renewal. In these intimate moments, the barn became a crucible of transformation, a space where past pain could yield to a future nurtured by care and understanding. Daniel's determination shone in every meticulous detail, from the freshly spread straw to the careful arrangement of water troughs. The rhythm of their shared days fostered a quiet resilience, a mutual acknowledgement that healing was a gradual, enduring process. Each night, as the last rays of sunlight faded, Daniel's soft lullabies and whispered reassurances wove a tapestry of hope around the stall. The once forlorn gaze of the horse now hinted at cautious optimism, a silent affirmation that the world could be kinder than it had once been. Over time, the simple routines began to chip away at the walls of fear that had long encased the animal's spirit. Daniel's unwavering kindness slowly transformed the barn from a place of recovery into a small sanctuary of rebirth and promise. In moments of stillness, he marveled at the resilience of life, the way trust could take root in even the most barren of hearts. With every passing hour, the horse's fragile hope strengthened, its eyes no longer haunted but reflective of a soul ready to embrace possibility. The barn, bathed in the glow of twilight, bore silent witness to a transformation that defied the grim predictions of a callous world. As the day closed, Daniel and the horse rested in shared contentment, united in the belief that every life, no matter how rejected, could find its way back to hope. In the weeks that followed, Daniel dedicated himself entirely to the horse's recovery, each day marked by small victories and persistent challenges. Mornings began with gentle grooming sessions where every brushstroke was a silent promise of renewed care and belonging. The horse's once dull coat slowly regained a hint of luster, a subtle transformation that spoke of healing from neglect. Daniel introduced carefully measured exercise routines, guiding the gelding through short, cautious walks along the farm's dusty paths. With each tentative step, the animal seemed to rediscover lost strength, its gait gradually becoming more confident. Neighbors observed the change with growing admiration, their initial skepticism softening into quiet astonishment. Local whispers began to circulate about the young man who had rescued a rejected horse and was now nurturing its recovery with extraordinary patience. The barn, once a solitary refuge, now buzzed softly with the energy of healing, as the pair forged a bond built on trust and shared resilience. Daniel recorded every small improvement in a journal, each entry a testament to the transformative power of empathy and care. With time, the gelding's eyes grew less haunted, gradually reflecting curiosity and a nascent warmth that hinted at emerging hope. The young man experimented with different feeding techniques, incorporating special grains and vitamins that had been recommended by a kindly veterinarian. Slowly but surely, the horse's health began to improve, its body showing signs of recovery that defied its once bleak condition. Daniel took extra care to soothe the animal during moments of anxiety, his soft words and gentle touch creating an oasis of calm amid lingering fears. As the seasons changed, the farm's landscape transformed too, the harsh winter yielding to the soft embrace of spring that mirrored the horse's revival. Vibrant wildflowers began to pepper the fields, a vivid reminder that beauty and rebirth can arise from even the harshest conditions. The gelding's newfound vitality was not without setbacks, as occasional flares of old habits reminded both him and Daniel of a turbulent past. Yet each setback was met with even greater resolve, as Daniel carefully adjusted routines to nurture the animal's fragile progress. Local farmhands, once indifferent, now stopped to offer words of encouragement as they passed the rejuvenated pair along the dirt road. In the evenings, when the barn was bathed in the soft glow of lamplight, Daniel would sit quietly, his eyes reflecting both pride and a lingering determination. The horse, now more responsive to gentle commands, began to show its unique personality, a mix of timidity and quiet dignity emerging in measured bursts. Over time, Daniel noticed a shift in the gelding's behavior, an occasional whinny of recognition, a slight nudge of affection that spoke volumes of its growing trust. Each positive change was celebrated quietly, personal triumph against the odds stacked by years of neglect and hardship. The transformation became a beacon of hope not only for the horse but for Daniel himself, whose faith and compassion was steadily validated. In small gatherings at the farm, curious neighbors inquired about the progress, their questions met with humble updates and measured optimism. Daniel's reputation as a kind-hearted soul began to spread beyond his small community, attracting quiet admiration from even the most skeptical. The once rejected gelding, now on a slow path to recovery, embodied a story of redemption that resonated with anyone who had ever felt overlooked. Days turned into weeks as routine, and care wove together a tapestry of recovery that was as fragile as it was promising. The bond between man and horse deepened, each day reinforcing the unspoken understanding that neither would ever be abandoned again. In moments of quiet reflection, Daniel marveled at the transformative power of persistence and the quiet miracles that can arise from simple acts of kindness. He introduced the horse to short, controlled trots along the perimeter of the property, each stride a small step toward reclaiming its lost vigor. The animal's ears, once constantly alert for signs of danger, began to relax, slowly acclimating to a rhythm of life defined by care rather than fear. Daniel's gentle presence gradually replaced the harsh echoes of the past, building a safe haven where both could heal in tandem. The barn walls, scarred by time and neglect, now bore witness to a daily miracle of renewal as trust slowly blossomed within its confines. Every interaction between the two became a lesson in patience, resilience, and the quiet strength found in unconditional love. The horse, with each measured step and soft whinny, seemed to whisper thanks for the care that restored not just its body, but its dignity. Daniel's efforts were never grandiose, just a series of small, deliberate acts that together forged a path away from despair. As the days lengthened and the farm burst into the vibrant hues of early summer, the transformation became undeniable to all who witnessed it. The quiet pride that filled Daniel's heart was matched only by the steady improvement in the horse's physical and emotional well-being. In the gentle cadence of daily routine, both man and horse found solace in their shared struggle, each step a victory over a past defined by rejection. That day, as twilight fell over the farm, the bond between them shone like a fragile ember, small, yet powerful enough to light a future of hope. As summer advanced, whispers of the remarkable recovery spread far beyond the confines of Daniel's small farm, drawing attention from curious locals and distant media alike. A modest newspaper article celebrated the unlikely rescue, recounting how a young man's unwavering compassion had revived a once-forgotten soul. Daniel, unaccustomed to accolades, brushed off the praise, focusing instead on the daily rituals that continued to mend the horse's shattered trust. Each sunrise found him in the barn, meticulously tending to the animal's needs with the quiet determination of one on a sacred mission. The gelding, now visibly stronger, began to trot unassisted along the farm's familiar dirt paths, its gait gradually evolving into a measured, hopeful rhythm. Neighbors, who had once scoffed at his choices, now watched in awe as the transformation unfolded before their eyes. Children from the nearby village would occasionally sneak onto the property, their wide-eyed wonder a testament to the unexpected beauty of a rescued life. Daniel greeted each visitor with a humble smile, silently urging them to see beyond the surface and recognize the heart that had persevered against all odds. In quiet moments beneath the shade of an old oak, the horse allowed Daniel to lead it on longer walks, exploring the outskirts of the property with cautious curiosity. The pair's journey was punctuated by shared silences that spoke volumes, a language of trust cultivated over long hours of patient care. As the days grew warmer, Daniel experimented with gentle training exercises, encouraging the gelding to stretch its legs and build strength for future challenges. He introduced simple obstacles on the farm, carefully designed to boost the animal's confidence and prove that the world could be kind if given a chance. With each completed task, the horse's eyes would glimmer with a spark of triumph, as though it recognized that it was reclaiming a part of itself once lost. Daniel recorded these small victories in his journal, each entry a testament to the transformative power of perseverance and gentle kindness. The local veterinarian, impressed by the rapid improvements, paid occasional visits, offering further guidance and sharing quiet words of encouragement. In the midst of such progress, Daniel maintained a quiet humility, knowing that each new day was hard-won and filled with its own battles. Evening light found them often side by side in the barn, where the soft clatter of Daniel's tools mixed with the steady rhythm of the horse's breathing. Even as news of the remarkable turnaround spread, Daniel remained focused solely on the bond that had blossomed between them. His life, once marked by quiet struggles and unnoticed sacrifice, now pulsed with the energy of a mission fulfilled in part by each shared moment of trust. The transformation of the gelding became a symbol, a living reminder that compassion, no matter how quietly given, can illuminate even the darkest paths. Local farmers began to seek Daniel's advice on caring for neglected animals, inspired by the success of his gentle approach. As the seasons passed, the once rejected horse grew into its strength, its eyes now reflecting a steady confidence that belied its earlier despair. Daniel introduced new routines, incorporating outdoor exercises that allowed the horse to run freely in open fields, a luxury it had never known before. Each sprint across the dewy grass, every jubilant whinny, became a celebration of rebirth and the power of second chances. The barn's worn walls, once echoing only with sorrow, now vibrated with the sounds of life, a gentle symphony of hooves, whispered reassurances, and the quiet hum of renewal. Visitors came by in small groups, marveling at the change not only in the animal, but in the transformation of Daniel himself, whose quiet resolve had kindled a broader hope. Local schoolchildren, led by their teachers, would occasionally observe from a respectful distance, their eyes wide with wonder at the miraculous recovery unfolding before them. Daniel spoke little of his own past or the hardships he had endured, preferring instead to let the horse's progress tell the story of redemption and persistence. The daily routine, once a series of tedious tasks, had blossomed into a sacred ritual that honored the unspoken bond between rescuer and rescued. Evenings were marked by long walks under a starlit sky, with a gentle murmur of crickets and soft night breezes wove together an atmosphere of serene promise. Daniel's heart swelled each time the horse trotted alongside him without hesitation, a silent nod to the victories won over fear and neglect. With each passing day, the transformation became not just a personal triumph, but a quiet revolution that challenged the cynicism of those who had once dismissed it. His neighbors, inspired by his example, began to reconsider their own attitudes toward the downtrodden, acknowledging that every life held the potential for renewal. The local newspaper's follow-up story, rich with testimonials and soft praise, further spread the message that compassion could indeed triumph over indifference. In the golden light of late afternoon, as the horse galloped briefly in a newfound burst of energy, Daniel's eyes shone with a mixture of relief and deep, abiding pride. Each stride taken by the gelding was a quiet declaration that its past need not dictate its future, that every soul was capable of rising above the scars of rejection. The barn, a modest structure imbued with Daniel's quiet tenacity, stood as a beacon of hope for all who had ever felt discarded by the world. Friends and strangers alike found solace in the simple truth that even the most battered life could find renewal under the gentle care of a compassionate heart. As dusk fell and the fields darkened into a tapestry of soft shadows, the bond between Daniel and the horse shone like an ember, a promise that hope endures. In that sacred twilight, as the last light of day surrendered to night, their intertwined journey stood as a living testament to the transformative power of love and perseverance. With autumn's approach, the farm was painted in rich hues of amber and rust, reflecting the inner transformation of both Daniel and the horse as they continued their journey of healing. The gelding, now noticeably sturdier and more assured, trotted alongside Daniel with a steady rhythm that belied its once fragile state. Mornings were spent in the cool, crisp air, where Daniel led the horse on gentle runs through fields kissed by dew and the promise of renewal. The transformation had become so striking that locals began to speak of the horse not as a rejected animal, but as a symbol of rebirth and second chances. Daniel, modest and unassuming, never boasted of his success, allowing the horse's progress to serve as its own quiet, resounding testimony. Visitors arrived to see the miraculous change, their faces softening as they witnessed the grace and strength that had emerged from despair. At the local feed store, murmurs of admiration and curiosity circulated about the young man whose gentle methods had revived a life many thought was lost. The horse's daily routines were carefully expanded, incorporating longer walks and measured canters that celebrated every regained ounce of vitality. Daniel introduced playful exercises that allowed the horse to frolic in open fields, each joyful movement a rebellion against its grim past. Children from nearby villages gathered at the fence to watch, their laughter and wide-eyed wonder fueling a contagious optimism in all who saw it. Even the once skeptical neighbors began to offer small tokens of support, fresh feed, kind words, and quiet encouragement to Daniel and his steadfast companion. Each passing day deepened the bond between the two, as the horse learned to trust the gentle cadence of Daniel's voice and the warmth of his touch. In quiet moments before dusk, when the sky blushed with the soft glow of the setting sun, Daniel would sit by the stall and share silent conversations with the horse. Those silent talks, woven with empathy and understanding, became a sacred ritual that stitched together the wounds of a long-forgotten past. The horse's eyes, once dull with fear, now gleamed with a cautious optimism that spoke of resilience and the promise of tomorrow. Daniel's hands, calloused yet tender, continued to groom the animal, each brushstroke a reaffirmation that beauty could be reborn from neglect. The daily grind of care transformed into a celebration of life, as every shared meal and quiet moment became a small victory over previous despair. In time, even the horse began to nicker softly when Daniel entered the barn, a subtle sound that resonated like the first notes of a hopeful symphony. The community, inspired by the unfolding miracle, started to see the once rejected animal as a beacon of change, a living proof that even the most battered spirit can heal. Daniel found himself quietly humbled by the outpouring of support, grateful that his simple acts of kindness were stirring hearts beyond his small farm. The transformation was gradual but undeniable, as each day peeled back layers of fear and sorrow to reveal a soul capable of trust and joy. Autumn rains occasionally tapped at the barn's roof, their gentle patter a soothing lullaby to the horse that now slept with a calm, steady rhythm. In those serene moments, Daniel would watch the creature rest, its soft breaths mingling with the cool, damp air and filling him with a quiet resolve. The farm itself seemed to breathe new life as the season's change brought a crisp clarity that paralleled the rejuvenation within the barn. Each sunrise and sunset was marked by small, significant changes, A spark of the horse's eye here, a steadier step there. That built a mosaic of recovery. Daniel meticulously noted every improvement, confident that even the smallest progress was a triumph over the cruelty of the past. The horse's transformation soon became a topic of quiet celebration at local gatherings, where neighbors recounted the unlikely revival with heartfelt admiration. Children would mimic the horse's gentle trot as they played, their innocent laughter a reminder that hope often finds its home in the simplest gestures. Every visit from the kindly veterinarian reinforced the message that, with care, even the most wounded could regain their strength and dignity. Daniel's evenings were spent reflecting on the day's progress, his thoughts a mix of gratitude for small victories and anticipation for the challenges yet to come. The barn, illuminated by soft lamplight, bore witness to nightly rituals of reassurance, quiet conversations, gentle strokes, and shared silences that spoke of mutual healing. As leaves turned from green to gold, the horse's once halting gait transformed into a more assured stride, each step a victory over former frailty. Neighbors began to see not a pitiful animal, but a resilient soul that had weathered adversity and emerged with a glimmer of renewed hope. Daniel's commitment was unwavering, his every action guided by the belief that true transformation was possible even for those society had abandoned. In the soft light of morning, the pair would often venture outside together, their silhouettes merging against the backdrop of an awakening landscape. The gentle murmur of wind through the trees and the soft clatter of hooves on dirt became the steady soundtrack of their shared life. Each day, the once rejected gelding moved closer to becoming not just healthy but exuberant, a living symbol of rebirth and the quiet triumph of the human spirit. Daniel's humble farm, once a place of solitary struggle, had grown into a sanctuary where compassion and persistence rewrote the story of neglect. As twilight enveloped the land, the horse and its rescuers shared a silent understanding that every ending was merely the beginning of something new. In that fading light, the bond between them shone as a quiet testament to the enduring power of kindness, a promise that even the most forsaken could be reborn. In the final stretch of their transformative journey, the horse's revival reached a crescendo that resonated far beyond the boundaries of the small farm. Daniel, ever the quiet guardian, began to invite local enthusiasts to witness firsthand the remarkable progress achieved through unwavering care. Word spread that the once rejected horse now trotted with a vigor and grace that belied its tragic beginnings, captivating all who saw it. A local equestrian club, intrigued by the transformation, offered Daniel a chance to enter the horse in a regional showcase that celebrated resilience and spirit. Though hesitant at first, Daniel recognized that this opportunity could validate the horse's rebirth and inspire others to believe in second chances. In the weeks leading up to the event, he intensified its training with gentle exercises designed to boost confidence and highlight its natural athleticism. Each session was marked by moments of breakthrough, as the horse learned to respond to commands with a newfound boldness that thrilled Daniel. The barn transformed into a lively arena of progress, where every trot, canter, and joyful whinny underscored the miracle of recovery. Local media picked up the story, and soon photographs of the horse's determined gaze and graceful movement adorned community bulletins and online news. Daniel, while remaining humble, acknowledged that the animal's success was not merely personal but emblematic of the healing power of genuine compassion. On the day of the showcase, a cool autumn morning greeted them, the air crisp with anticipation and the promise of a new beginning. The farm was abuzz with quiet excitement as neighbors and curious visitors gathered to see the horse that had defied all odds. Daniel led the gelding onto a makeshift arena in the open field, every step measured and deliberate in a performance that was as much about survival as it was about triumph. The horse's movements, fluid and confident, spoke to a rebirth that had transcended its dark past, captivating every onlooker. Applause erupted from a small but attentive crowd as the animal executed a series of gentle yet spirited maneuvers, a display of both strength and newfound joy. In that moment, the once forgotten creature became a symbol of hope, a living testament to the idea that every life, no matter how battered, could rise again. Daniel's eyes shone with quiet pride as he watched the horse perform, each step reaffirming the power of unwavering dedication and love. The event, modest in scale, quickly grew in significance as word of the horse's transformation spread throughout the region. Attendees marveled at the stark contrast between the animal's past and its present, their admiration mingling with tears of astonishment and relief. Local leaders even expressed a desire to support further initiatives that would rescue and rehabilitate neglected animals, inspired by Daniel's success. Throughout the showcase, the horse maintained a steady rhythm, its eyes clear and focused, a living portrait of redemption in motion. Daniel fielded quiet compliments and encouraging nods from strangers who saw the horse's progress a reason to believe that miracles were real. The atmosphere was charged with an energy that was both celebratory and deeply reflective, as the community collectively recognized the transformative power of kindness. After the performance, the horse was gently led off the arena to soft applause and murmurs of heartfelt gratitude from those present. Daniel knelt beside his companion, stroking its neck with tender familiarity, grateful that every struggle had led to this moment of shared triumph. In the days that followed, the story of the rescued horse and its determined caretaker became an enduring legend within the community. Local schools invited Daniel to speak about the importance of compassion, and his humble words inspired a generation to look beyond surface appearances. The farm, once a place of quiet isolation, blossomed into a hub of community activity, where the lessons of resilience were celebrated daily. As autumn deepened, the fields echoed with the sound of hooves and laughter, each day a living tribute to the belief that every life was worth saving. Daniel's once lonely journey now resonated with the voices of many, each remark and kind gesture a testament to the ripple effect of one act of compassion. The horse, no longer defined by its past, trotted proudly among those who now saw it as a beacon of hope and renewal. In quiet moments under the starry sky, Daniel reflected on the long, arduous road that had brought them here, each hardship transformed into a stepping stone toward grace. The community, enriched by this shared experience, vowed to never again turn a blind eye to the suffering of the overlooked, inspired by the resilient spirit of one humble animal. Daniel continued his daily routines with a renewed sense of purpose, every act of care a deliberate choice to foster hope and healing in a fractured world. The once dismissed gelding had become a catalyst for change, its story a gentle reminder that the power to transform lives lay within every compassionate heart. Local media followed up with stories of other rescued animals finding second chances, a ripple effect sparked by the transformation witnessed on that autumn day. The horse's journey became intertwined with Daniel's own, their paths forever linked by the quiet determination to defy the harsh verdicts of a callous past. With every new sunrise, the promise of a better tomorrow grew stronger, nurtured by the steadfast care that had revived a life once deemed lost. In the gentle glow of early morning, as the farm awoke to another day of possibility, Daniel and his companion stood as living proof that hope is never truly extinguished. And so, under the ever-watchful gaze of a compassionate community, their journey reached a powerful culmination, a shared triumph that transformed not only a rejected horse but the hearts of all who believed in second chances.